Planning for response to occupancies in your community is vital for the department's preparedness. Incident commanders armed with emergency pre-plans can make informed decisions, making conditions safer for firefighters carrying out the attack. In this program, you will learn how firefighters save lives and property through pre-incident surveys of occupancies in their community. The learning objectives are to define the firefighter's role in preparedness activities, to demonstrate basic steps for conducting pre-incident surveys, to identify common hazards found in occupancies, and to show how to inspect fire protection systems for readiness. Pre-incident planning is the entire process of gathering information, developing procedures, and maintaining information resource systems so that specific information on the occupancies can be retrieved quickly for reference at an emergency. The pre-incident survey is the fact-gathering part of the process and the important first step in using information to work smarter, not harder. Pre-incident surveys are usually conducted in commercial occupancies to help fire departments prepare for larger-scale emergencies. There are many reasons for conducting building pre-incident surveys: to become familiar with the buildings and the associated hazards, to be able to see how existing strategies apply to the building, to recognize hazards that were not known before, to provide value to your citizens as an aid to fire prevention, and to gain on-site information for the pre-incident plan. Every jurisdiction will have a specific policy for how firefighters should conduct pre-incident surveys in their area. Firefighters conducting surveys should be familiar with department policy because this will allow you to see the big picture of how the survey fits in with the whole planning process. Knowing and understanding the policy is also helpful in answering citizens' questions during the survey. Firefighters most commonly perform surveys as part of a company. The company officer will often have more survey training and experience than the firefighters. However, as a firefighter, you will be conducting the survey, so you must have confidence in your ability to do the job right. There are 4 steps to conducting pre-incident surveys: setting the appointment, approaching the occupant, conducting the survey, and the exit interview. Most departments have a schedule for survey activities. To ensure that the schedule coincides with the availability of the building occupants, the company officer should call ahead to arrange for an appointment.
Yeah, hey Jim, it's Charlie Kemp from the Puyallup Fire Department.
The officer should inform the occupant of the purpose of the visit and find a time that meets the schedule of both the occupant and the fire company.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Jim.
As you drive up to the occupancy, observe the area surrounding it as directed by department procedures. Look for fire hydrants or other sources of water supply, fire alarm boxes, and exposures. Notice the condition of the adjacent streets and routes for apparatus approaching the exterior of the site. Are there any neighborhood features that might cause traffic congestion, such as railroads, schools, or sports venues? Note the type of buildings, occupancy, and general appearance of the neighborhood. Your department may be equipped with portable electronic devices to help you generate survey reports. Record specific observations about the exterior of the site. Common examples include: are address numbers visible? Are all sides of the building accessible? Are there any forcible entry problems? Are there any overhead obstructions for aerial apparatus? Approaching the occupant begins by making sure that your appearance and your attitude will make a favorable impression. You should project a neat appearance. Your uniform should be clean and in good condition, and you should be well groomed. Your attitude should convey confidence in yourself and your ability, as well as a concern for the well-being of the people and property at the survey site. Enter the building through the main entrance and ask for the person in authority that you made the appointment with, or his or her designee.
Hello. From the fire department. Is Jim in today?
Yes, let me go get him.
All right, thank you.
You may have to wait to see the proper person, but always confirm permission before starting the survey. The company officer should introduce the crew and state their business.
Jason.
John Davis.
John, glad to meet you.
A representative of the occupant should accompany the firefighters during the entire survey.
Here he is, Stephen.
Nice to meet you, Stephen.
This person can help you gain access to all areas of the building, as well as answer questions. Now you are ready to begin the survey. Generally, most surveys begin on the exterior of the building. Look around the general outside area, and then check out the exterior walls of the building. If the property includes several buildings, it is a good idea to go to the roof of the highest building and get a general view of the layout. Some businesses can provide an insurance company plan of the premises. This is a great reference tool for the survey. Sketch the buildings in position. Be prepared to make notes and sketches of all important features during the survey, using standard map symbols. A complete set of notes and well-prepared sketches will provide you with dependable information when it comes time to prepare your report. When you have finished inspecting the outside of the premises and drawing the exterior layout, move indoors. Follow your department's procedure for completing a systematic survey of the interior space. A common practice in multi-story buildings is to begin at the top floor and work down to the bottom floor or basement. Ask to have all locked closets or rooms open for viewing.
I can't let you go in there.
Be prepared to respond to questions or reluctance to allow entry into every room. If the guide refuses to open an area or room because of research or a secret process that they want to keep private, suggest that a cover or screen could be used so the inspection can continue. If you are still denied access to a room or area, don't press the issue. Just note it on your report and leave further action to higher officials at the department.
Thanks for all your
You
time
bet, no
here.
problem, anytime.
Appreciate your help. We just got a couple things here. We'll
Okay.
finish up. When we did our inspection, we walked through and appreciate you going through.
The
with us.
exit interview involves taking time to meet with a responsible person after the survey. By reporting to the person with authority before leaving the premises, you demonstrate a cooperative, working together approach. During this final interview, it is important to comment on both the favorable and unfavorable conditions that you found during your survey. Start by noting favorable conditions.
That looked really good over there, Jim. In the back, we talked about some violations.
Then point out any hazards that were found during your survey.
We did find a couple things that are going to need some attention.
Sure.
So we talked about on the outside here.
Although code enforcement is generally not the main purpose of a pre-incident survey, if you find code violations, you have a duty to act. Communicate the urgency of correcting the problem as soon as possible. If not corrected in a reasonable time, follow department procedures for reporting the violation. And explain what will be done with your survey information.
Oh, I'm good.
Outstanding.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank the manager for his or her help and time. A fire hazard is any condition that will encourage a fire to start or will increase the severity or casualties of a fire. A common fire hazard is not a minor hazard. Common refers not to the seriousness of the hazard, but to its prevalence in all types of occupancies. While conducting surveys of residential or commercial properties, you must be able to spot common fire hazards and educate citizens about them at the site. In order for a fire to start and continue burning, it must have the four elements of the fire tetrahedron: fuel supply, heat source, oxygen supply, and a continuous chemical chain reaction. Oxygen is not easily controlled, and the chemical chain reaction begins after ignition. But fuel supply and heat source can be controlled to reduce the chance of a fire. Let's look at some common fire hazards that feed the fuel supply, causing a fire to start or increase its severity. Ordinary combustibles such as wood, cloth, or paper. flammable and combustible liquids such as gasoline, oil, lacquers, or alcohol, flammable gases such as natural gas, LPG, or compressed natural gas, chemicals such as nitrates, oxides, or chlorates, dusts such as grain, wood, metal, or coal, metals such as magnesium, sodium, or potassium, and plastics, resins, and cellulose. Heat source hazards to watch out for include electrical heat energy from such things as poorly maintained electrical appliances, exposed wiring, or lighting. Mechanical heat energy, which is found in the moving parts of a machine, such as the belts or bearings that heat up due to friction. Chemical heat energy, which includes heat from combustion or spontaneous heating. This happens when a material is improperly stored or used. A common example is oily rags that spontaneously ignite. Other common sources of fire hazards that you may encounter during surveys are poor housekeeping, improper use or maintenance of heating, lighting, and power equipment, improper disposal of floor cleaning compounds, improper storage of packing materials, fumigation substances, and flammable and combustible liquids. Poor housekeeping can be especially dangerous because it can mean blocked exits, an increased fire load, hidden fire hazards, and an opportunity for flammable material to come in contact with an ignition source. When checking for common hazards, make sure that there are enough exits and that they are in good working condition. Be sure that nothing is blocking the exits, and require that any chains, deadbolts, or extra locking devices be removed immediately. Firefighters should look carefully at the fire protection systems and the occupancies that they survey. Depending on your department's policy, you may or may not be required to actually test the system. But in all cases, you should be able to inspect various types of systems. For fixed extinguishing systems, you should check for open water supply valves, correct pressures on automatic sprinkler system gauges, any damage or tampering with components, any stock stored too close to sprinkler heads or damage to sprinkler heads, special agent extinguishing systems that are charged and ready for service. To check portable extinguishers, make sure that access to extinguishers is not obstructed. The extinguisher is the correct type for the location. Extinguishers are charged to the correct level. The distance between extinguishers meets code requirements, and damaged, inoperable, or obsolete extinguishers are replaced. For standpipe systems, you should ensure that outlets have workable hose threads. There are no foreign objects in the outlets. The hose and nozzles are in the standpipe cabinet and they are in good condition. And pressure-reducing valves are set at a workable level. For fire detection and alarm systems, you should ensure that the system is operable. The annunciator panels show that the power supply is on and the system is not in a trouble mode. And there are no missing components in the entire system.
Very good.
Surveys of all kinds of occupancies in your community are the most important non-fire activity performed by firefighters. So it's important to be well trained in these skills. In this program on pre-incident surveys, you have seen many of the tasks involved. We have shown the role of surveys in pre-incident planning, steps for conducting good pre-incident surveys, common fire hazards to look for, and how to inspect commercial fire protection systems for readiness. Everyone benefits when firefighters perform surveys of commercial occupancies in their community. The commercial property owner benefits from a lower probability of a costly fire or other accident. Employees benefit from safer work conditions, and you as a firefighter benefit from information on specific occupancies and hazards in your response area, on which to build an effective pre-incident plan if called to respond. In the process, you also reduce the frequency of fires and the risks associated with fighting a fire. It all boils down to a simple truth: prevention and pre-incident planning increases everyone's odds for survival.